Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Welcome to another episode of our webinar series, Streamlining Work Management for Competitive Advantage. Today is episode 3, Aligning Strategy to Execution. And this is brought to you by Nimble, where our mission is to humanize work. So as people join, let us get started with the preliminary agenda. So we'll start with some introductions. After that, I will give you a quick overview about Nimble for those of you who may not know about us. And then we will get on to the main session on aligning strategy to execution. And hopefully at the end, we will have a good Q&A session, interactive Q&A session where we can learn from your experiences in this particular topic. Just some housekeeping. The session is being recorded and we will make the recording available via email to all the people who registered for the webinar. We will take questions using the Q&A box on the Zoom panel. Make sure to enter these questions using that, and we will take them up at the end of the session or earlier if it is possible. All right, so with that, let me introduce the speakers today. So with me is my colleague Mano Cherian, who is VP of Business Development at NimbleWork. And as I've been saying in the last 2 sessions, Mano is probably the most qualified person in the company to talk about any and everything about how our customers implement their work management and project management solutions, how we have helped them improve what they do or succeed in what they do. Mano has been involved not only on the business development side, but also in running some of the largest projects for some of our largest customers in the consulting and professional services aspects of these engagements. So, nothing like learning some of the things that we have learned from our customers through the lessons that Mano has drawn from them. My name is Mahesh Singh. I'm a co-founder and I run marketing for NimbleWork. And I have also been fortunate to work with most of our customers, especially in the Western Hemisphere, running implementations of lean or agile initiatives or running implementation of solutions that our customers were implementing in the area of work management, portfolio management, project management, etc. So between the two of us, we bring in a lot of experience learning from our customers, learning from some of the challenges that they face and how they have addressed these challenges. And this series is meant to bring to you the lessons learned from running these projects, and also, of course, to show how our products that we have at NimbleWork, how they help you address these challenges. So that will also be part of the focus today. Just a quick word, therefore, about the company, NimbleWork. We've been a pioneer in web-based project and work management solutions for over 2 decades now. We are headquartered in Cupertino, California, and have offices in Europe as well as, of course, in India. We have over 1 million users in companies around the world using a variety of our different products. And you can learn more about that at nimblework.com. Just a quick look at our product portfolio, which is pretty comprehensive in terms of managing the entire value stream of work management, whether you're looking at starting from strategy with either portfolio management or running OKRs, to execution, where you're looking at running and delivering projects and new initiatives and linking them together, which is, of course, the topic for today's session, or all kinds of things in between, whether you're running agile, whether you're running traditional or a hybrid, whether you're doing projects or just business as usual work, and other things that you might do, like running retrospectives at the end of sprints or releases for projects to learn what went wrong, what went right, etc. So we have some very specific solutions to help organizations improve continuously. We have sort of integrated comprehensive solutions for companies that want to run an end-to-end solution for managing all aspects of their work delivery and project delivery. And you can see some of the names that are here. Finally, just a quick look at some of our customers, and you might see some familiar names and some maybe not so familiar names. But we have worked with customers that are very small teams, between anywhere between 15 to 25 to 50 users to very large customers with tens of thousands of users running and all of their projects on our platforms, and interacting with their own customers using our overall products capability. So that's who we are, and I'd welcome you to take a look at our website. And if you have any questions around how we help our customers, we'd love to connect with you and talk to you more. All right. So with that, let's move on to today's session, which is about aligning strategy to execution. So why is this important? In general, what we have seen is that, and before I hand over to Mano, I'll just take a few seconds here. That in general, what we have seen is that people or companies define organization strategy in multiple ways. I don't believe there is any organization that doesn't define strategy. However mature they might be, or however early they might be in their overall life cycle, everybody has a vision, everybody has a strategy of what they want to do overall, as well as from an year-to-year, quarter-to-quarter perspective. The way that these strategies are defined might be in terms of portfolio management or in OKRs or other simple ways of defining strategy. And then making sure that these strategies that have been defined for whatever time period, they're actually delivered. These strategies actually are achieved, and the benefits that they intended to get from those strategies get realized by the organization. And we've seen through the eyes of our customers that many times that's where the challenges lie, that there is a lot of gap between strategy and how those strategies get executed. And what we are going to show you in today's session is really about how our customers do this, how they align strategy to execution, and how we support them through our products in doing so. So with that, Mano, welcome to the session, and let me hand over to you.
Thank you, Mahesh, for setting up the context for today's session. I hope you're able to see my screen. Is it visible? All right. So just give me a minute. I just want to minimize. Yeah. I don't know why the toolbar.
You should be able to move it. Oh, you got into a different pointer.
How do I?
Can you press escape button?
Press?
Just try the escape button. There you go.
Oh, there I go. Sorry about that. Okay. So as mentioned by Mahesh, our objective today is to show how strategy and execution can be well aligned, and how it can be aligned through a robust infrastructure, which basically would include having a good system that will help you to define your strategic objectives and then track them or execute them within the same platform. Now, what we have seen from our customers is many of our customers, excuse me for that, many of our customers face challenges with regard to setting up objectives, setting up key results to measure the performance of the objectives, setting up a timeline, and missing them completely. Having the inability to track critical initiatives in your strategic plan. So there are many initiatives that gets defined, and some of them are extremely critical, which has a very high impact. Having the ability to track them or to prioritize them at the right time has been a challenge. Lack of visibility among departments, among teams, on what is it that they need to prioritize and work upon. And as a result of that, you land up doing work that is not aligned to your organization initiative. So basically, you have a misalignment to the organizational initiatives. Improper allocation of and utilization of resources across various projects and programs that are mapped or aligned to your strategic initiatives. And then all of this results in delay in launching a new product, a new service, or a new initiative that actually is supposed to kickstart, having a delay in that. Now, all of this challenges is very common. We have seen some of it in amongst our customers. And this is primarily because of a misfit between strategy and execution. So, which means that there is a scope for improvement. If we are able to improve the strategy to execution process within the organization, then your ability to accomplish the initiatives that are mapped to various strategies becomes much higher. Your ability to prioritize the critical ones, get them executed, ensure that resources are aligned or mapped to the right initiatives are much higher, and thus resulting in much more success. So what we have been able to see, what our customers have done is they have adopted multiple strategies, multiple steps. We have just focused on few of them. So the first one is the ability to define your objectives in a very clear manner, be very specific, and make sure that the objective is aligned to your organizational capability. So it is not just that a strategic goal has been defined, initiatives has been defined, and it is just given to the team members, but a proper alignment of whatever you have defined to the capabilities of the organization so that the organization is able to deliver it is very important. Getting all stakeholders on board, and as a result of that, enhance ownership, commitment, alignment will ensure that whatever strategy you have defined and the initiatives which you have defined towards its accomplishment will get well implemented and well executed. Facilitating communication and visibility at all levels. So this could be at the leadership level, it could be at the mid management level, and it can also be at the team member level. So having that in place is also important. Defining clear and measurable outcomes and benefits is also important. So we can set up initiatives, but what is the outcome of this initiative? What is the result we are expecting as a result of implementing this initiative? That is very important. And then the whole organization, let it be the leadership, the mid management, and the team member, being agile and adaptable is also equally important. So these are some of the key pointers which our customers have been able to implement and then improve on the overall strategy to execution. Now, these are all methods and processes, but when it gets implemented on a solution, it becomes more effective. Like say, for example, within the Nimble Enterprise platform, we have a project portfolio management module, which basically helps you to set up strategic goals, helps you to define initiatives by various stakeholders that are mapping to your strategy and goals, and then getting them reviewed and approved to make sure that the definition is clear, the definition is understandable, and it aligns to the organization's capability. It is something which the organization can take up and implement quickly. Having that whole review and validation through a workflow is an important capability which we provide. Now, once the initiatives have been defined, some of them will be extremely critical, some of them have a lesser timeline. So prioritizing the initiative which needs to be picked up based on the budget and the resources that are available is an important capability. And for the prioritized initiatives, having a budget allocated so that you will be able to ensure that it gets delivered within the cost that has been budgeted for it, and then taking it through execution within the same platform and tracking the progress of execution and reporting it back to the initiative is an important capability. So which means that a senior stakeholder, he is able to get a view on all the initiatives that is running within his portfolio, and he is also able to get a view within the same system on the progress of each of these initiatives from an execution perspective. Now, this is one approach which a lot of our corporate IT customers, especially we have few customers in the banking domain, they have taken up this approach to ensure that whatever has been planned for a quarter or whatever has been planned for a year gets prioritized and executed. But we also have a very nimble approach for strategy to execution, and that is using the OKR method, where you define objectives that are aligned to your strategic goals. And for each objective, upfront itself, you will define what are the key results that you are expecting from the implementation of those objectives. And the key results which is expected can be updated by the relevant stakeholders from a progress perspective, or it can be mapped to a work item. It can be a user story, it can be an epic, it can be mapped to a work item within your execution system. And then based on the progress of the work item, you're able to see the percentage completion of a specific objective. So basically what we are seeing here is it's a much more nimbler approach if you're taking the OKR approach, where you just set up the objectives, get it reviewed by the relevant stakeholders, you set up the key results, and then you track its execution on the execution platform. So what I have planned for today's session is to take you through these two approaches, which will basically help us to ensure that all the execution work items are aligned to the strategic objectives and approaches. I'll quickly take you through these two approaches, and then we will open the floor for Q&A. So first, let me just log in as a portfolio manager. I'll take the portfolio approach first. So once you log into the Nimble application, by default, you will be taken to the portfolio management module. And within the portfolio management module, you get some dashboards in terms of what are the initiatives that has been budgeted and execution is happening. So what was the total budget for those initiatives which has been approved, and what is the budget that has been spent till date? So it gives you kind of an indication what is the percentage that you have accomplished against the various initiatives that has been approved for execution within your organization. The platform provides the ability where you can define your strategic goals. You can allocate budgets to each of those strategic objectives. And then the relevant stakeholder will be able to say what are the various work items what are the various activities that needs to be accomplished to meet that objective. So these activities are defined on the basis of demands or initiatives. So when we go to a specific demand or a specific initiative, you will see that the demand is mapped to a strategic program. So there are 3 strategic programs defined in this organization, and here you see that it is mapped to the program for cloud enablement. And then when you further come down, you're able to see that if this demand is getting implemented, what are the business goals it is basically going to accomplish. So you can define your own set of business goals. So one of the business goal over here is it will reduce a customer drop ratio to less than 5%. So you can set up business goals and map each of the demand to a business goal and to a strategic objective. And then you will be able to track the regular implementation related data in terms of what is the timeline required to implement this initiative, if it is approved, by when it needs to be implemented, and what is likely to be the implementation cost. So this is basically based on various parameters like the manpower cost, the capital expenses, the infrastructure cost. So all of that can be factored, and you'll be able to determine the overall cost for implementing that specific demand or initiative. And then, if you recall in our presentation, we said that one of the key requirement for improving your strategy to execution is to define clear measurables, outcomes of benefits. So So for at a demand level, you will be able to specify if this demand gets implemented across my 3 benefit areas. You can choose your own benefit areas. What is the likely benefit I'm going to realize in terms of dollar value? So once all of this gets defined, you basically have uh, a setup. Uh, you basically have a setup where you have a list of demands that are aligned to various strategic goals and objectives. Each of these demand has a budget allocated to it. Each of these demand has benefits tagged against it. And each of these demand will basically help you to determine the goals that are going to be that will get achieved as a result of its implementation. Now, once the demand has been defined, you can see that it goes in through a workflow. And the various workflow stages which we provide in the product are seen over here. You can involve different collaborators, different actors, different stakeholders at each of these workflow stage. And once the demand gets approved, it get reviewed, it gets approved. Once it is approved, it then goes through the execution stage, and then you will be able to also see the demands that has been rejected within your portfolio. Now, this workflow is important because this workflow will basically make sure that the demand that has been defined is clearly defined, its objectives has been clearly set, its benefits has been clearly set, so that it can be communicated to all the stakeholders who are going to be part of its implementation. And more importantly, the workflow where you have a review stage, which is typically being reviewed by senior stakeholders within the organization. You will also be able to ensure that implementing this initiative is within the capabilities of the organization. So you're not taking up something which cannot be delivered, which is very difficult to implement within the required timeline. So this is where you will be able to set up your initiatives. You will be able to get them reviewed. You'll be able to get them approved, and make sure that it is aligned to the capabilities of the organization. We also provide views wherein which you can track the performance of all the initiatives within your portfolio from a budget perspective. So what is the budget you have allocated on a quarter-on-quarter basis? What is the total budget that has been allocated? And then what is the remaining budget that is available? So if you see over here, you will see that in Q3 and Q4, you still have some budget available with you, which means that you still have the ability to prioritize more demands and take them for execution within the Nimble Enterprise application. Now, once the objectives has been defined, and the portfolio manager will get it reviewed by the relevant stakeholders. Once the budget has been approved by the portfolio managers, budget has been allocated, and once it has been set to allocation, what happens in the Nimble system is the moment. So let me just give you an example over here so that we will be able to see it very clearly. So if you come to a particular demand over here, you will see that it has been approved for it has been approved. It is in the execution stage. So let me just come down to that specific demand. So if you look at this demand over here, Kubernetes cluster is something that needs to be implemented. You are able to see the cost and the benefit this specific demand is bringing into bringing into the ecosystem, and you will see that it has been approved and it is in the execution stage. Okay. Uh, so once it has been approved, so we have a portfolio prioritization method. We have a AI-enabled prioritization capability where it will do some computation, and it will say you on the list of 15 or 20 demands that you have, these are the 5 that needs to be picked up on priority because they are delivering the maximum value to the organization. So once the prioritization has happened and the demand has been approved for execution, and just take a look at this name over here, then the next step that takes place is the demand has been approved for execution, and a project manager has been assigned to that particular demand. So we will quickly log in as a project manager. So here I will log in as Amelia Johnson, who is a project manager. And when she logs into the system and goes through, so let's say she comes to her personal workspace, and then she will be able to see the project request. So a demand, once it has been approved, it will go to the project manager's inbox. So for various portfolios, you can align project managers, and it will get allocated to those project managers. So it will come to the project manager's inbox as a project request. The project manager or the department head, whoever it is going to, can fill in the details. You'll see that its category is a demand, can fill in the required details, can choose the execution template which they want to use, whether they want to follow a Kanban method in this specific project, or they want to use a hybrid method. So they can choose the applicable template and take this demand through an approval process. And once it has been approved, the project gets formally created within the Nimble Enterprise application. Now, once a project has been created, this is where the execution team gets involved. The execution team will be able to see how the project has been broken down from an execution perspective. So the project could be, you can define various user stories to accomplish that specific initiative. And the user stories can go through a structured process. So we will not cover the actual execution part over here. But I just wanted to highlight over here is this execution of a project is aligned to a demand, which is aligned to a strategic initiative or a strategic objective that has been defined at the org level. And when it comes to execution, the work can be defined, can be broken down, can be defined either as user stories, and it can be taken for its execution through an agile or a Kanban method, or it can also be broken down to tasks. So you can have multiple task plans created in the system, and each task plan can have its own set of tasks, and you will be able to take it through its execution in that manner. But what happens is based on the progress of execution. So you will have team members assigned to various tasks and activities. And based on the progress of execution, when you go back to the PPM module, we provide an ability wherein when you click on the demand, you will be able to see the actual progress. So you will see this actual progress that will get rolled up from the underlying project. So basically, you're able to see that $197,000 has been allocated to this project. And as per actual execution, what is the actual spend that has been consumed, and what is the remaining budget that is available. Now, this is going to help the portfolio manager to track the progress of various demands. If something critical has come and if he has got some issue with his budgets, then he will be able to identify which of those projects that are in execution should be put on hold for some time till he is getting a new budget, and so on and so forth. So all that can be managed in the system effectively because the demand, the strategic objective, and the actual execution and the data related to its execution is all available in one system, and it is well stitched so that you get a top-down view and you're also able to get a bottom-up view from an execution perspective. So that is the first part of the demo, which I wanted to show you, wherein you can take the PPM approach to improve your strategy to execution capability within your organization. Now I'm going to log in as another user who has taken the OKR approach. So let me just set up the OKRs, or take you through the OKR module. Okay, so we'll quickly switch to the OKR module. So in the OKR module, we provide the ability where you can define your objectives. Now, these objectives can be defined at 4 levels. You can set them up at a company level. And as you can see here, these are all my organizational objectives that has been defined. Some of them is to achieve 15% increase in sales or whatever it is. You also able to see a progression over here. You are supposed to have accomplished 89% of this objective by now, but you have only accomplished 14%. So you are able to get a real-time progress tracking capability when you're setting up your OKRs. But what is more important is a company level objective can be broken down to department level objectives. A department level objectives can be broken down to a team level objective, and a team level objective can be broken down to an individual level objective. So there are 4 levels in which we allow you to define these objectives. So you can stick to company, or if you define a company level objective and say that, okay, my marketing, I need some contribution from the finance department, from the HR department, they can define their own objectives that is aligned to the company level objective, and then they can further break it down to team level or individual level objectives. But irrespective of where these objectives are being defined, each of these objectives have a characteristics, and that characteristics is the objectives are typically broken down to what we call as key results. Key results is basically the outcome, a measurable outcome that gets that needs to be accomplished to state that this objective has been fully achieved. So if you look over here, the objective over here is to lead a successful digital transformation journey for the US region. And for me to achieve that, I need to launch a cutting edge digital solution that will improve my customer feedback rating by 50%. So that is the objective. Why? That is a measurable outcome that has to be accomplished. That is, my customer feedback rating should be improved by 50%. And then the other one is I have to achieve 80% increase in customer feedback responses. So you will define your measurable outcomes. And if these outcomes has been accomplished, then to a certain extent, you will be able to say that the objective has been met. Now, for each of these outcomes, how do we update its progress? There are 2 ways in which its progress can be updated. The first one is you will set up what is my current value, what is my target value. Currently, my customer feedback rating is 5%. I want to increase it to 50%. And then on an ongoing basis, defined based on a frequency of update that you set up in the system, it can be weekly, bi-weekly, you can choose as per your organization's requirement. On an ongoing basis, you will come and update what is the current value. So you can see here from 5%, it has increased to 12%. And as a result of this, the percentage progress gets automatically calculated in the system. So basically what we are saying is you can define your objectives, set up the key results, and then manually update the progression of the key results. The second way of doing it is each of these key results can further be broken down to what we call as sub-key results. Now, this is very unique to the Nimble solution. So you can see that each of these key results is broken down to multiple sub-key results. And the sub-key results will get mapped to an execution activity that gets executed in a project. So if you see here, this specific sub-key result is getting mapped to a theme which has been defined in this project called microservices development. So the name of the theme is prototype of action bot. And then you get to see the percentage completion over here. This percentage completion is based on the actual completion of work on this theme, which is being done by a project team. So how do I explain that to you further? So we'll just look at this prototype for action bot. Let me log in as a project manager of that specific project, that is the microservices development project. So when I log in as that user, so let's quickly log in as that user. Okay. And so let me just go to portfolio management. Sorry, not portfolio management. I have to go to the project where this is getting executed. So I go to the microservices project. And we will go to the themes. You have seen that sub key result has got mapped to a theme. So when we go to the themes, we will look at the theme of implementing an action bot. Yeah, prototype for implementing an action bot. You see that it is 16% complete. The 16% complete is based on the fact that within the project workspace, the theme has been broken down to epics, and epics has been broken down to user stories. You can see the progression of these user stories. Some of them are 100% complete. Some of them work has not yet started. So, and this percentage completion is basically coming from the team execution. So the team is executing its work on a Kanban board. So the team is able to see the cards that has been assigned to them. The team will be able to see through this visualization the cards that are aligned to a specific key result or a sub key result or to an objective, and then prioritize and take work towards its completion. And as the work is progressing, the percentage completion of the team is getting reported. That is shown to the senior stakeholders, which will then help them to determine the actual work completion for a sub key result is concerned. So basically what we are saying here, if you're taking the OKR approach, you define your objectives, break them down to key results, break them down to sub key results, and align or map them to executable activities. It could be a theme, epic, or a user story that has been assigned to a team. And as the team is working on it, you will be able to track the actual percentage progression. So to summarize, quickly coming back to my slide. So the ability to define objectives clearly, either using the PPM route or using the OKR approach, is something that is important. Getting all stakeholders on board, let it be through an approval workflow, let it be through a review mechanism, and thereby improve, let it be through setting up specific objectives at a department level, and thereby improve their ownership on that specific initiative is very important. That is when they will put in their best and ensure that it is completed and delivered within the agreed timeline. Facilitating communication. So we saw that how approved demand flows to a project and how it goes to a project workspace. And we also saw how a key result is broken down to a sub KR and how it is mapped to a work item within a project. So which means that people at the project level, people at the mid management level, and even stakeholders at the senior leadership level are all able to see the same information as far as an objective or a key result is based, and they can then bring in make sure that the right amount of prioritization is given to that work item, and it can be taken up for execution. Defining clear and measurable outcomes. So from a PPM perspective, we saw the outcome definition on the basis of benefits. And from an OKR perspective, we saw the outcome definition on the basis of key results. And being agile, adaptable, having the flexibility to take a task-based approach, having the flexibility to take a Kanban-based approach based on what is required for that specific initiative. These are the key requirements to ensure that if you define a strategy, you're able to track its execution and make sure that it gets completed within the agreed timelines. So that's a quick overview, Mahesh, from my side. Any questions?
Mano, that's an excellent presentation and some amazing capabilities that you described here. We have a bunch of questions, so let's go through them. I wanted to check with you first. You talked a lot about how stakeholders need to be on board, and I would say policies and let's say procedures need to be in place, right? So that they can be implemented in a system such as this. Typically, how do our customers go about getting those policies and processes defined so that they can then be implemented in a system like ours?
See, there are two. We have seen two approaches over here. One is if you, I mean, we didn't get into the details of the product, but the Nimble Enterprise solution comes with a set of out-of-the-box policies and processes that can be adopted by teams. So we have seen teams adopting our process and policies, which is basically based on our experience, and then over a period of time, enhance it to suit to their organization's specific needs. So that is one approach which we have seen, and we have few customers who have taken that approach. The beauty of this approach is you're able to roll out the application at a much faster pace. Within a matter of few days to weeks, the application is live, up and running within your organization. The second approach which we have seen is these policies are typically defined by the center of excellence. That is what we are seeing of lately. It could be a project management center of excellence, or a delivery center of excellence, or an operations center of excellence. So we have seen different flavors in different industry segments. These policies are defined by the center of excellence, and they want to abide by that. They have been using various trackers or tools, but they don't want to change the policy. So then we sit with these center of excellence. We obviously have discussions, try to improve wherever it can be improved, and then we set it up on our application. Our application is a configurable system where such policies can be defined very easily. We set it up on our application, and then it is ready for usage.
And then it becomes enforceable to the extent that they want to enforce these.
See, the objective. Yeah, the objective over here, what we have seen of lately, is not to, enforce a stringent process, but to let the team know how to do it. What is the best way to do it, so that you're going to get the best results. So that is what is happening as a part of this exercise.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. There's a question on how flexible is our framework. You used a lot of terms, especially they may be OKR specific, process related definitions, also agile related. So you use the term themes, epics, user stories, etc. If a customer is using standard non-agile methods of delivering projects, how do they implement this linking between strategy to execution? Can they do so without adapting agile, or do they have to necessarily also adapt agile?
No, they can do so without adopting agile. See, what is important for us is a project or a workspace which a team is involved with is a container, and that container has a list of work items. If you have selected the agile template, you get the agile work items by default, which is themes, epics, user stories. If you are not following an agile method, if you are following a non-agile method, like say, for example, of lately, we worked with a customer who is in the manufacturing industry, and he is responsible for manufacturing various components that goes to the automotive industry, and he wanted to improve his process of handling customer complaints. So there was a strategic objective, there were some measures and goals in place, but they wanted to measure what they called as customer complaints. And there is a process that is in place for tracking such work items. Now, customer complaint is not an epic, it is not a theme. Maybe it can be modeled as an epic, but by default for a manufacturing organization, it is not an epic or a theme. So you can set up such work items, configure such work items within the application. And once a work item has been defined, since it is configured using the core framework of the product, you will be able to link it to a project, you will be able to link it to a sub KR, you will be able to link it to an objective which you have defined in the system. So from that perspective, based on your execution, you will be able to set up those work items and workflows in our tool. And what gets mapped to an entity at a higher level, which is an objective, is the work item. So that flexibility and configurability is there in the platform.
Perfect. You talked a lot about stakeholders. One of the important stakeholders is the set of people who are working on these initiatives or these projects, right? So the teams and the individuals in those teams, how much visibility do they get about what objective or what OKR is driving their specific user story or task that they are working on? Are they able to see that?
They are able to see that. See, when you go to a team board, typically what happens is you will have the regular work related cards on your board, and you will also have work that has flown in from an OKR or from an objective. So So, like say, for example, if I have a board with 10 cards, maybe 8 of them are coming from my regular work inflow, project work, and maybe 2 of them are coming from my OKRs and objectives. So you will clearly be able to identify, we have a concept called tags. Using the concept of tags, you'll clearly be able to identify regular work versus work that has come from a strategic initiative, and you will be able to prioritize the execution based on that. If you're using our visual paradigm for work execution, which is what most of our customers are using, then we have various other capabilities that are built into the system. Like one of the capability is you have a stand-up wizard. So which means that on a daily basis, you will be able to have a review with your team. You will be able to track the progress of work against those items that are coming from a strategic initiative, and you'll also be able to track progress of work against your regular project work. So all of this has been built into the system, which basically helps the team to be well aligned from strategic related work and from normal project related work perspective.
Excellent. Because I think one of the topics that I see regularly coming up is that people and teams need to understand their purpose of why they're being asked to do certain things. And
Correct.
my understanding is that obviously a lot of companies that are implementing strategy through these types of frameworks, OKRs or portfolio management, are obviously trying to provide that vision or mission or purpose through these objectives and portfolio initiatives. And so as long as teams can see that their work is because of these strategic initiatives, it gives them a clear picture of why they are being asked to do something that they're doing, and obviously helps them understand where it fits in the overall set of organizational priorities. So that's great that we can do that. There's I would say, more of a tool or automation question, but nevertheless, let's ask that. So there's a question that if I have not implemented OKRs today, and if I buy your OKR product and just use it to set up objectives and key results, will I be able to essentially implement OKR by using your product?
So the answer to that is yes. Whatever we have provided has the basic processes in place that will help you to implement an OKR kind of a framework within your organization. So the answer to that is yes. If you use the modules which we are offering, we have all those linkages in place. Then to a great extent, you will be following OKRs within your organization. I would just like to highlight, see, we just recently did an implementation with a bank. It was just, there was no additional configuration or customization which they did. They just used our framework out of the box, and they were able to get in their OKR processes institutionalized through our tool. So to answer your question, yes, if you use our tool, you will be able to comply to the needs of OKR implementation.
That is amazing and fantastic. I would add to that question. I would add to that I believe that you need to have a sort of right amount of investment in terms of leadership mind share, in terms of teams buy-in, and in terms of understanding the overall purpose of implementing any kind of a process framework, including the OKR methodology. So to that extent, you should have these in place already, so that you can then be clear that, okay, we are we have already decided to implement OKRs. We are already doing it in some maybe semi-automated manner using spreadsheets or tools like that. But here in Nimble, we provide the ability for you to completely automate or digitalize, whatever phrase you want to use, to set it up almost out of the box, like Manoj just said. So that is a great benefit for teams that have decided to use OKRs and are looking for an easy way to institutionalize it across the company or across the organization. Wonderful. So I think we are nearly, or actually we are slightly over time. So we'll stop here. Thank you for all the questions from the audience. I'm going to share my screen to make sure that we are able to share our contact information. If you are looking to buying tools in this area, then talk to us. If you are looking to simply learn more about how to benefit from our customers' experience on aligning strategy to execution, please connect with us as well. And we'd love to hear about your own experience and learn from them. And if you have other topics that you want to suggest for these weekly episodes that we're doing, we'd love to hear from you on that as well. So with that, Mano, thanks a lot, and
Thank you.
we'll close it here. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.